This presentation is intended to explain the adjective degrees. Here we can see 3 examples: beautiful, tall, and happy. And we must start by saying that the adjectives tell us more information about nouns. It can be people, animals, objects. Now let's look at these 2 examples. My father is taller than my mother, and my mother is more beautiful than my father. Now let's see how do we build these kinds of adjectives. When 2 things are different, we use comparatives to compare things that are different, and we want to say that one of them has more or less of a quality than the other. For example, if the adjective is short, we need to add er plus the word than. For example, Julia is taller than Sarah. If the adjective is long, then we would say that the person or the thing is more or less than then we put the adjective and then comes the word than. For example, the daisy is more beautiful than the rose, and the rose is less beautiful than the daisy. We're using opposite sentences, using differently the words more or less. Another example would be, cars are much faster than bicycles. Let's see what happens here. We're still comparing 2 things that are different, but we can't use very with comparatives. However, we can use the words much, far, or a lot. Let's look here at 3 examples. Anna is much faster than Amy at running, for example. Or the mouse is a lot smaller than the rabbit. Or finally, this ring is far prettier than those earrings. When the difference is little, we could say, for example, black chocolate is a bit tastier than milk chocolate. Still, 2 things are different, but just a little. So we can use 2 different options, a little or a bit. Look at these examples. My dog is a little taller than yours. Or the bee is a bit bigger than the fly. It's just a little bit, so the difference is not big, so we add these 2 words, a little or a bit, to our comparative adjective. Sometimes the comparison refers to 2 things that are equal. So look at this example. Birds are often as beautiful as flowers. If the 2 things that we're comparing, or the 2 people, of course, are equal, we use as, then the adjective, and again we say as. For example, the cat is as big as the dog, or the apples are as heavy as the potatoes. Now let's look at another type of degree for the adjectives, the superlatives. As you can see in these pictures, these men are standing up, so they are in a higher position than everybody else down here. And that's why we use superlatives. Let's look at the examples. Imagine I've been reading a few magazines, and I finally say that this is the most interesting magazine that I've read so far. So it's the most interesting, the one that stands out from the rest. We use superlative adjectives when one thing is the most. We can also use it if it's the least, of course. We'll see that example further on. Well, when the adjectives are short, we use the, then the adjective, and we add est at the end. For example, my sister is the oldest in the class or in the party. When the adjectives are long, we can't add more to that word. It would be too long. So we have to add a word before the adjective. The most or the least, and then the adjective. For example, that exercise is the most difficult in the exam, or that exercise is the least difficult in the exam, expressing opposite sentences. And this is the end of the presentation. I hope you're more clarified about how to use the adjectives degrees now. Thank you.